What do we know about climate change? After a century of study, we know several really important things. The first is that greenhouse gases, water vapour, carbon dioxide, methane and a few others, have significant effects on climate. They keep the planet's surface warmer than it otherwise would be. And second, we know that humans are raising the concentrations of greenhouse gases in the Earth's atmosphere, mainly by the burning of fossil fuels, which of course releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. And you put those two things together and we immediately see that humans are influencing climate.
The biggest thing that I learned from the Al Gore conference was that 97% of climate scientists agree that climate change is real and it's happening, it's now, and it's of man-made cause.
Climate impacts will be extensive. They begin with the straight effects of warming temperatures, and that causes heat stress on ecosystems, on crops, on humans. They'll appear through changes in rainfall patterns. So for instance, we will see increases in the intensity of extreme events. These are already being observed. We will certainly see changes in the spatial patterns of rainfall, with some areas becoming drier and other areas becoming wetter. Also, of course, sea level rise. We'll see combinations of these events acting in a knock-on fashion, so that changes in one area or at one time will not only be confined to that area or time, but will extend in their impacts way beyond their original domain. The effects of climate change grow exponentially, grow much more rapidly than the temperature increase itself, and we can expect that a 4-degree world will be a quite difficult place for many parts of human societies, particularly the more vulnerable human societies which do not have the high adaptive capacity of a country like Australia.
I also learned at the conference that the 4 major human systems that we require to live are being impacted by climate change. So that's our health and our infrastructure and our food and our water, that are all being impacted. And Al Gore neatly sums up climate change as dry places get drier, wet places get wetter.
One of the findings of the last few years of climate science has been that there's a close relationship between the total emission of CO2 to the atmosphere way back since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution and the consequence for warming. And this means that we have a clock by which we can track how long we have to go before we hit any nominated level of climate change, such as the level of 2 degrees, which is often regarded as dangerous. The remaining quota before we reach a 2-degree warming will be used up in about 30 years at current rates of emission.
In 2009, the countries of the world did get together and they agreed that we must keep climate change under 2 degrees centigrade rise. And that is going to mean that we must reduce our carbon use and reduce our emissions. The problem is not that we don't know what to do, because we do, and there are lots of things we can do that will make a difference. The problem is that there are lots of things standing in the way of us doing them, and we're not moving fast enough. Here in the ACT, our government is doing a great deal, and we can be very proud of the fact that we are moving quite fast to decarbonise and reduce our energy dependence on fossil fuels. But in Australia generally, we are going backwards at the moment. It would seem that we are responding more to the needs of the economics of the coal industry than we are to the future of humanity.
It's really important to understand climate change, because if you don't understand it, or even if you do and you feel just despair or hopeless, it's just as bad as not acknowledging the issue. And you've got to remember the words. Al Gore lives by these: after the last no comes a yes, and that's where the hope for the future comes in.
sustainable patterns of living meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. How are we tracking? Do we need to take action for our future?